welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Dana, aka Blinding Knots here on YouTube, and today I thought it would be really fun to sit down and kind of make like a little bit of a crochet knit project diary almost, if you will. We are about to head into May. I know it's not quite May yet, but we're right on the cusp of May. It's a couple days away. And so I figured this was a pretty good time to kind of pause and take a little bit of an inventory on everything I have made so far this year, because sometimes you get to thinking like, have I really created that much this year?
What have I even been doing?
And so this is a nice little condensed way I can kind of talk about my projects a little bit more in depth, let you know what I thought about them. I'm going to rate them overall as a project, what I think, and that way I can give you a little bit of insight in case you're interested in any of these patterns or yarns, things I have made with them. I do love doing the end of the year wrap up. I just thought it'd be kind of fun to do kind of a quarterly one as well, since we're kind of at a little bit of a benchmark for 2025, being we just got through the first 4 months, which, by the way, are you doing okay? I'm hanging in there. So without further ado, let's just hop right into the projects. I have a lot of them here with me, so as I talk about them, I'll hold them up. We can discuss them together and give them an overall rating. Also, let me know in the comments below which piece is your favorite of the first 4 months of this year. I have an idea of what your guys' favorite will be, but let me know for sure. We're gonna hop right into it, and I'm going to start off with my very first piece I completed for 2025, which was actually a knit piece. I have just very recently picked up knitting, and it's become a passion of mine. I love crochet so much, but it's really fun also to switch it up and knit sometimes. So I have been knitting quite a bit recently, and my very first piece that I finished of 2025 was this. Honestly, all I can remember about this piece was being so proud that I finished it. I did work this piece up with a 5mm knitting needle, so it does work up a lot quicker. And because of that larger needle size, it really is the lightest weight cardigan I have ever made, crochet or knit or anything. I mean, this is a full length garment and it's so light and airy. This I used the Lacy Lou poof yarn. I used the colorway Berkeley and Savory mixed. It just made the most magical colorway of colors. I don't usually like blue and red together. It's not really my thing. However, I do feel like it worked out really well in here. Also, Louisa Harding, if you haven't checked out her poof line yet, she has some stunning colorways that I would love to get my hands on and like recreate this in. They have like kind of like this green colorway that I love and a pink. This hot pink is to die for, and to make this piece in the hot pink would be absolutely stunning. I'm also going to link the patterns for you guys, so if you want to give any of these a shot yourself. I also don't know if I mentioned this was my very first piece I ever knit, so very first garment, this is what I got out of it. And I didn't really have any trouble following the pattern or anything, so it was really quite beginner friendly. I love making cardigans, especially knit ones now. So overall, this piece, how proud I was of it is kind of factoring a lot into how I feel about it, but I do actually get a lot of wear out of this piece, which is something I'll talk about as we go through pieces as well. And this one I honestly wear a lot, not so much anymore, of course, because we're getting into more of the spring months, but for the winter months, I wear this all the time. And so I think I have to give this like an 8 out of 10. It has so much room for improvement because it is, you know, my very first piece I ever knit. So there's a lot of tension inconsistencies and whatnot, but how can I not love this? I mean, I really am just so proud of myself that I finished this as my first ever knit piece. So yeah, overall, really, really happy with it. And I think 8 out of 10 is a pretty fair rating. However, if I was just rating it on like skill alone, and I won't do this for all of them, but this one is probably like a 6 out of 10, maybe even a 5. I definitely ran into some learning curves, but learned a lot and so happy I did it. So that was number 1. I do also think that was called the Cobalt or Cobat, something like that, cardigan. So I will, of course, like I said, share these all in the description box. If you guys have been here a while, you know how I do it. I put a Canva link. I'll put them all in the link for you, so they'll be super accessible if you are interested. Next piece I have for you is going to be another knit cardigan. This is the Adele Cardigan, and I am not going to be able to hold this piece up for very long because it weighs about 1,000 pounds. This is one of my heaviest pieces in my collection of probably anything I've ever made as a wearable. It is just absolutely massive. It's really long too. It goes quite a bit past like my mid thigh, so it's a longer piece. It has long balloon sleeves on it, and it is really like, it feels like wearing a weighted blanket, which in Virginia in the winter is kind of a win. But overall, yeah, this was my second knit piece I ever made. I am holding 3 strands of yarn and I had to go buy special needles for this project. Probably the hardest part of the project was purchasing the needles. I think I needed a US 19, which is equivalent to like a 35 millimeter or something right along those lines. I can't really remember it, but I just know I had a lot of trouble finding the needles. However, I obviously finally found them because the project's complete. With this project, I am holding 3 different strands of Jody Long yarn. So one of them is a cotton yarn, one of them is a full wool, I think it's all wool, and then the third one is air spun, which is like a hybrid of a wool and I think it's actually acrylic too, if I'm not mistaken. But the air spun was in the colorway cherry red. I did a hot pink for the cotton yarn, and then this other gray color was like a twisted light and dark gray, and I feel like it really helped give this piece some neutrality to it. So it was a lot easier for me to grab and wear. Things I don't like about this piece though, I will say, is that you don't end up putting like a real ribbing on the cardigan. You kind of work it as you go down. And for me personally, I just found that it doesn't hang on my shoulders enough. It just tends to slide off. And I'm not sure if that's because of the weight of it. If I made maybe too big of a size and I should have accounted for that and brought it in a little more, or what happened there. So if I remade this cardigan, and I don't remember how I put it together, but I would have liked to add maybe another inch and a half or so to the actual collar area to give myself some more, what's it called? Width. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, you can see, I mean, there's a lot of interesting textures in this cardigan. It was really a beautiful piece. Both of these were actually samples that I was knitting up for Knitting Fever to show off some of the yarns and how they use them. So these color combos were sent to me to be put together. I didn't choose to put them together. However, I'm really happy with both. I probably would have never thought to hold these 3 particular strands together. And I was a little bit worried about it at first because as I was working it up, in my hands, it was really soft, but when I would go do try-ons in it, it was kind of itchy. However, once I steam block this piece, it is like a dream now. I mean, it feels so good, and I don't have too much of a shedding problem with it, which is something else I was worried about this piece with. So yeah, overall, probably give this a 7 out of 10. I don't see myself wearing it as much because it is slipping off my shoulders, so maybe we can fix that in an upcoming vlog or something like that. It'd be fun to make this maybe a little bit more wearable, but I love the color combo. I love how heavy and big it is. And yeah, 7 out of 10 I feel like is a very fair rating for that piece. And on to the next piece, we have a Valentine's Day piece that I made. This is one of my favorites. This one I don't have a pattern for, unfortunately, because I freehanded this piece, but I made this Snoopy Jumper. Now this is completely based off a pattern that was at one point available on Etsy. I was kind of thinking we could do like a little bit of a crochet along, where if you wanted to get the pattern with me, we could work it up together, but the seller no longer sells the pattern, and I am unsure if it has anything to do with like a Snoopy trademark or something like that. So I don't have any details, and I'm sorry I can't link a pattern for you. I will link the video I made it in because I do try to explain a little bit of the details in that video in case you're pretty good at freehanding. And I think I also included the graph, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did. So if you're good at kind of using alpha graphs to create patterns, here is a good one for you. So this is, yeah, like I said, very much based off of that original pattern. I love the color combos she had. Mine definitely came out differently. I stopped referring to the photo at some point, and so I kind of just got this color combo out of it. Something new I did on this piece, which I do plan to eventually film a little mini tutorial about, was this neckline. This neckline really, I think, made this piece and made it feel very Valentine's Day to me, because I tried to do somewhat of almost like a Peter Pan collar. If you're familiar at all with that type of collar, it's way more of like a feminine swoop versus a regular polo collar, which is what I was originally going for, and it just didn't fit the vibe of this. With this neckline and this collar, I felt like it really reminded me of like those Valentine's Day doilies that, you know, you remember your grandma's house having, or even in school they had them a lot of time. And I feel like it was the perfect feminine touch to this piece. This is about a 3/4 length, maybe a little bit longer sleeve, and it's full length on the body. I don't get a lot of wear out of this piece. One, it has just a giant Snoopy with a heart on it. It's a very loud piece. I typically find myself wearing a lot of more muted tones, like what you see me in right now. This is probably what you're gonna catch me in 98% of the time. Just my color palette is far more muted, and so when I go out, I tend to grab those colors. But I do love making fun, colorful stuff, and that's how we end up with these projects. projects. However, like I said, I don't find myself wearing it. I'm sure when Valentine's Day comes around in 2026, I'll break it back out and wear it then again. But overall, for freehanding this piece, I'm very happy with it. I remember not having a lot of like really big issues making it, and so I think it was a really positive experience, and yeah, I'm just really happy. A lot of you guys really liked it, and so a little bit of extra validation from you guys never hurts. So that only helps my rating as well, but this was a great one. I think I have to give this like an 8 out of 10. It's made out of fully big twist value yarn, so it's a very cost-effective project. A lot of these other projects I will show you that I'm doing for Knitting Fever or whatever it was, it's very expensive yarn that I understand is not extremely accessible, so this was a very accessible piece, and I'm starting to talk myself up into a 9 for this project, just because I am like really proud of it, I think. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I think a 9 out of 10 is probably more of a fair rating for this piece because it's just so darling. I love me a Snoopy. I have some other plans to do some Snoopy stuff with you guys later in the year, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully we'll get around to it sooner rather than later, but being this piece is made out of acrylic, it's a little bit more heavy. It's not super heavy as compared to some of my other crochet acrylic pieces. And once I blocked it, I really kind of didn't have any issue with it. So, okay, I think 9 out of 10 is a fair rating on that one. Okay, taking a little bit of a break from wearables, I did make 2 accessory pieces, which I'll talk about really quickly. So the first accessory piece I made is right here. This was the Sophie Scarf. I have been joking with you guys since I made this. It's a knit pattern, by the way, but I can't figure out how I'm supposed to wear this piece. I've tried a couple of times. I always feel like a flight attendant, or someone said I look like Fred from Scooby-Doo when I wear it, and that made me laugh so hard, and I can't unsee it. So this is my little Sophie scarf. I just have it rolled up as she does, like a little cute croissant, and I have it sit on my shelf, and it's been okay there, but I would like to try to maybe style this a little bit differently, maybe wear it as a hair bow. A lot of you guys recommended that option, so we'll play around with this year. But this I did end up working up in the Cherry Air Spun by Jody Long. I had an extra ball of it, so it's really a fantastic feeling piece, and having it on my neck is not bothersome. I will say though, with this piece, I was irritated by the end of it. If I'm being completely honest with you, I was so bored of making this by the end, and I really started to think about how much wear I probably wasn't going to get out of it. So I think that started to demotivate me a little bit, but it's just a repeat row for like 8 rows, and then you repeat, etc., etc. So it takes a lot longer to work up than you might initially think, and so for that reason I think I ended up making quite a few mistakes in it. So probably would have to rate this like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. Let's give it a 5.5. 5.5 out of 10 because 1, I don't wear it, and 2, I just remember being really bored and really ready for this piece to be over with. I do see so many people wearing this, and it's so cute, and 5.5 is not at all to knock at petite knit or the design at all. I think it's an adorable design, and I love seeing other people wearing it. However, just for me and my style, it's not really for me. So that was to my fault only, and that's why I'm giving it that rating. But the instructions are very clear, and if you're a beginner, this is a good way to learn your tension and just how to work a pattern that you read. So I would recommend it for that, but like I said, just for me and my style, it wasn't for me, and that's totally okay as well. The next little piece I want to talk about I have right here. I took it off my purse, and then I thought I should have probably left it on my purse to show you, but I'll insert the photo of it on my purse. I just knit this random little scarf. Originally it was a Y2K inspired scarf, but I never ended up wearing it that way because I put it around my bag and I'm like, wait, this is too cute on my bag. Oh, I did also wear it as a headband in my most recent Coachella video. If you guys saw that, I did wear it for that. So it was really cute like that. And I just freehanded this. I think this is about like 16 stitches worth of a knit. And then I just worked stockinette back and forth, and really I was trying to find a use for this novelty yarn. Knitting Fever kind of put me up to a little bit of an experiment to see if I could make something work with this yarn. They were just having a hard time finding things to do with it, and so that's kind of how I ended up here. It's a really cute headband though, honestly. I don't know, this novelty yarn, especially to crochet with, is very challenging, but this is really soft, and I've found a lot of other good uses for that yarn since then. But if you need like a cute bag accessory accessory or a headband, I would highly recommend working it with like a novelty yarn or something like that because it's really fun this way. But this is definitely more of a knit friendly yarn versus a crochet friendly yarn. So keep that in mind. I'd probably have to give this piece like a 6 out of 10. It's really middle of the road for me. It's neither here nor there. It's not made bad, but it's also just not really anything of importance to me. So for no other reason than it's just kind of blah, I'll give it 6 out of 10. Okay, next thing we have to talk about is going to be these pillows. If you guys have been here a while and you've been on my couch with me, you have seen these pillows. I love these pillows. This was a test we did for Zaddy Crafts yarn, his amigurumi yarn, and I fell in love with his yarn in that video. If you want to watch that video, it's a really, really good quality amigurumi yarn. And so if you're looking for something new and different, I could not recommend this yarn more. It's a chenille yarn and he has a bunch of amazing colorways. He's always working up something, and it's also just really nice to support a fellow crocheter in the community. So highly recommend you check out Zaddy Crafts. I will link his website below as well. But these were a bunch of the colorways that he had in the line, and it looks a little crooked right now, but I think it's just from it settling into this pillow. I bought some pillow inserts and we made some really cute pillows. And in doing this, I learned I love using chenille yarn to make pillow covers, because while on one hand, I love making crochet pillow covers, I don't love how long they take. And with this yarn, I was able to make up 2 of these in the matter of, I think 2 days it was.
Something crazy like that.
So overall, I had a really good experience. I had a really good time working with this amazing quality yarn. I love the color selection. I felt like a lot of these colors can be really challenging to find in chenille yarn, and it's something I use every single day. I would highly recommend if you need some like really cheap DIY crochet decor in your room, in your bedroom, in your house, anywhere, go on Amazon, buy yourself some pillow inserts, or even at Five Below, you can get some there, and crochet a little cover for it. So this for me was probably a 10 out of 10 project. I love how much use I get out of them. I love how fun and bright they are. They really changed the way my couch looks, which is really awesome. And the yarn was so good. So overall, really such a great experience, and definitely worth giving a shot if you've never made a crochet pillow cover before. Now back to clothes. We are going to go into my next knit piece that I finished. This was the Roll With Me sweater, and this is a knit pattern. It has this really fascinating neckline on it, and that is why I chose to make it. I love this roll over turtleneck hem. I think it's a really elegant little spin on a regular sweater piece. It's a top-down raglan, so it's quite beginner friendly. You work the whole thing in knit because you work it in the round, so that is really amazing as well. It made this project go by a lot faster, and so I really appreciated that about it. And I used the Noro yarns in the Ritsu line, and this was in colorway number 6, which is called the Fuyu colorway. This is one of my more favorite pieces because I was just, again, so proud when I finished this knit. Anything I knit now just makes me proud because it's typically something new at the moment for me, and I was really proud to have made this piece. Definitely made some big mistakes as I learned as I went, but that is okay. It still came out pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with it. It's a little bit more heavyweight, so again, I won't get much wear out of it until about probably November or so here, but I did wear it quite a bit while it was still chilly out. So I love the fit of this. I think it came out really nice, and I think I'd have to give this one like an 8 out of 10. Definitely room for improvement just from a maker standpoint because it's not made perfectly, but it was nothing that made the piece unwearable. I will say one thing I really enjoyed about this piece was working with the Noro yarns. Noro yarn is really such a treat. I typically use like their cotton and stuff, so this number 4 weight wool blend was a little bit different for me. I'm typically in like a number 2 to 3 range with their yarns, but it's such a treat. Like every stitch, it was fun to see the color changing because it is just a variegated skein. And I think this skein particularly was going for more of a like Christmas lights that are gleaming onto like an ice rink. I think it was part of their winter collection, and I thought it was a really stunning representation of that in the yarn. So I definitely really appreciated the yarn, probably the most of that project of any of my other wearables I have gone through with you so far. Oh, I have this one sitting here I totally haven't got to yet, and we do need to redo this piece. well, not redo, we need to make a new one, but this is my Porch Goose. He has been inside because the weather has been crazy lately, and I need to find a way for him to be outdoors without blowing over. But as you can see, he is still in his Valentine's Day piece. We made this together in a vlog, and I think this piece is so cute. It's so silly, and we all laughed about the Be Mine embroidery on it. I know it's very poor, but a lot of you said it kind of gave like that Chick-fil-A vibe, which made me laugh, and I couldn't agree more with you on that. This is just a little free-handed piece I made, nothing crazy, but I do think it came out really good. I think it gave the goose a very whimsical look, and his headband I definitely like the most. I do want to make him a raincoat next for kind of like April, May, and then we'll change him again probably for like true summer season. So that's something we need to get to in the next few vlogs so that he's ready for spring, because this is a little bit outdated now and he's a little bit embarrassed to still be in his Valentine's Day garb. So we'll definitely get around to that soon, but this is just a really fun little way to dress up my Porch Goose. If you want to know more about that, you can go to that video. I will link it for you, but I think this outfit, probably 8 out of 10 as well. This was a good stash busting outfit for me too, and I cannot wait to make that raincoat with you. I think it's gonna be a really, really fun project for us. The next piece I have for you is a sensitive subject, I'm not gonna lie. I made this piece with some knit pick yarns, and it is really cute, but this has kind of been deemed the project from HE double hockey sticks, and I'll explain more in 1 second. So it's just this little silly bolero, and you're probably thinking like, what's the big deal about that? That's what I thought too. My original plan was to make this cute piece in these cute like earthy toned colors, because I have another bolero that I wear very often, but it's in bright orange, and as I mentioned earlier, I don't always love wearing these bright vibrant colors, so I wanted a more muted palette, more neutral colors, and I could feel a little bit more comfortable wearing it on days I didn't want to like stand out so much, if you will. So that is where this idea generated from. And I was making this into a tutorial originally. I filmed the whole tutorial. I was so happy about it. It took me so long to finish it because I had to order more yarn, wait for it to come in. This yarn was all so kindly gifted to me from Knit Picks, and I was just really excited about it. And then I went to go edit the video, and guess what? One of the crucial clips deleted. I was so upset, and I just had so many already setbacks with this project that it kind of turned me off from it. I was excited about it at first. We also started to kind of joke that it was giving Shrek vibes, which it totally is, and I'm totally okay with that, but it wasn't the vision I was going for. The timeline didn't work out, and now it's kind of like just this stain in the back of my brain that I know I need to film this tutorial and remake this piece, but I just don't want to do it at this point, if I'm being honest. I made this when I had a lot of downtime to kind of generate a tutorial, because tutorials take me just longer. I like to be very thorough in my description and show every type of alteration you could possibly make to make this fit you, because it is a made to measure piece, and I will get around to it. It's just going to take me some time. So this piece and we're beefing. I will remake it with a different yarn, but this was made with 3 different types of knit pick yarns. And if you want to know more about that, I think there's a video where I share more about the yarn in general, but my favorite of these yarns is actually this green one, and this is their palette yarn in the colorway Edamame. It's a fingering weight yarn, but it is such a nice yarn. And even though it's a fingering weight, which isn't usually my favorite weight of yarn, it holds its shape so well because it's kind of like this twisted chain construction. Your stitches just stand up so tall and so nice, and it has like a little bit of a halo on it. It's not itchy at all, and it's just really an amazing yarn. I don't know why more people don't talk about this Knit Picks yarn, because it's actually just such a perfect yarn if you needed like a more lightweight wool style of yarn that's even affordable, and it has so many colorways. I mean, this is your girl right here. She is the star of the show, and so for that reason, I really loved this piece. I just had a bad experience making it. It does fit really well. It has really super long sleeves. I also love how I decided to just cut the coloring off right here and go the rest of the way just down in just the green only. So I thought that was a fun little design element, and originally I was going to add some like scallop borders to the bottom, but once I found out I deleted those clips, I kind of just put this aside. So maybe in the next one I will do the scallop edging like I wanted to, and around like the cuffs and stuff. This piece probably have to give it like a 7 out of 10, just because we had a negative experience together on the Shrek Bolero. So that was unfortunate, but sometimes projects just go that way, and I didn't have that many that I'm like now seeing as I go through that really were a negative experience. So that being my first like only semi-negative experience, is pretty good. We have just 3 pieces left, so hang in there. Well, actually we have 4. One of them I don't have up here with me. I totally forgot to grab it, and it just came to my mind as I was like working through these projects. But we made these adorable little pie cushion covers. I wanted to do a good scrap yarn project with my blanket yarn, and I had this red color laying around and a lot of this tan, so I went to Five and Below and got some like really skinny pillows I could use as like a chair cushion, and we crocheted these cute little pie covers around them. Again, I will link the vlog we did that together in because I don't have a pattern for it, but it was so fun. I couldn't recommend doing this more. If you need like a cute little whimsy touch in your kitchen, it really changed the way my dining nook looks now, and I really love it. There's not too much to say about them, but you could really make them into any type of pie. Like I would have loved to do like a blueberry or like a lemon meringue and put a little lemon slice on the pie cushion. I think that would have been really fun. So of course something I could switch out as the seasons go, but I have cherry pie cushions right now and I'm really happy with them. So I think I'd have to give those like a 9 out of 10. Super easy project. They worked up really fast and they've held up great. I don't know how long I've had them on there for, but no one's butts have ruined them yet. So happy about that. Okay, that was the only other piece I don't have staring in front of me. Now we are on to our last 3 pieces, which are arguably my last 3 favorites of this first couple months of the year. So first and foremost, I have who I think is going to be the star of the show today. It is this amazing Lacy Lou cardigan. I've talked about this pattern until I am literally blue in the face. This is the girl. Like this pattern is it. This was my first time double stranding with a cashmere yarn. At first I wanted to use a mohair, but I ended up getting some yarn from Jimmy Bean's Wool. They sent a really beautiful, luxurious cashmere yarn over from their in-house brand called Yarn Citizen, and it changed this piece. It truly did. I held a double with Queensland cotton in the colorway Champagne in their fine weight yarn. So a number 2 weight, then double stranded with that cashmere. This piece is the softest thing I own. It's also the most luxurious, I think, looking and feeling piece. My husband said this is one of his favorite pieces I've ever made, which is so funny. He always like is so excited to see my next make, and this has definitely been one of his favorites. One time I was wearing it and he's like, it just looks like you bought it at the store. Like it's crazy. It looks store-bought. I wore it a lot in Florida. I'm gonna wear it a lot this summer. I just know it's cute open, it's cute close, it's cute literally however. I think this is gonna be your guys' favorite too. At least so far it seems like on social media you guys have been obsessed with this piece, and I love that too. I think genuinely I have to give this piece a 9.5 out of 10. I definitely could have done a couple little things differently. For the overall low yarn and feel, it's a freaking 10 out of 10. The pattern's a 10 out of 10. Love this piece. We'll be getting so much wear out of this, and I recommend giving this a shot because it also just works up so fast. It's all worked in double crochet and chains. Like that is literally the whole thing, minus like, you know, the ribbing and stuff like that, but it works up faster than you would probably plan on it taking, and it looks really intricate, but it is a repeat pattern, so once you get the general idea, you're good to go. And it's made to measure, so you can make it in any size that you would like to make it in. Our next piece, second to last, is going to be this one. I don't have this one on a cute hanger, do apologize, but this is the Coachella outfit that we just made together the other week. This piece was so fun, minus the top, literally almost me because of how many recreations of it I had to make. This was a completely free-handed project. I used all of my scrap yarn, and for that, I really loved it. I also love the way it looks. I loved your guys' reactions to it. This piece really was kind of one of those ones I was super worried about sharing with you guys because I didn't know if I was having just like some moments of delulu. After you throw so many scrap yarns together, you're like, I don't know if this looks like crap or if this looks artistic. And you guys really gave me such positive, lovely feedback on this piece. I was so appreciative. It was one of those moments where reading the comments, I was just so grateful for you guys and grateful for your constant support. So thank you so much. But I also did talk about how the fit of this piece was a little bit off and how I was planning on maybe putting it on my Etsy and seeing what happened to it. The skirt that was. The top I didn't feel comfortable selling, and I don't really love the top. I would love to redo it and make it something different, I think. But you guys gave me such good recommendations with the skirt. Like a lot of you said just to pair it with a t-shirt, a band tee. I do plan on playing around with the styling of it. I'm going to also maybe add some elastic. You guys told me to add some elastic in the waistband because I was having some issues with the fit just being too big overall. Once you add this many rows of yarn, it just by nature does tend to stretch out and get too big. So I could add some elastic. I do plan to play with this a little bit, but I think I have to give this a 9 out of 10. I would rate it lower if I didn't have such a good reaction with you guys to it because of the top alone. It just kind of a last minute scramble together. But if the top would have came out the same way the skirt did for me, I think this would have been honestly a 10 out of 10 outfit. Okay, last piece, guys. We are at the end of the first quarter of the year, and I just finished it literally 2 hours ago, I think. Maybe 3 hours ago. I'm not sure. And if you've been here a minute, you knew what I was going to be talking about. This is my bikini slipover test knit pattern that I was working on. It took me far longer than I expected. I am a slower knitter though, so that was probably to be expected. I really should have kind of considered that maybe a little bit more when I was planning out some time management, but my Coachella outfit just kind of popped into my head and it took some precedence. That's either here nor there. We're talking about this piece. Overall, love this piece. I love the design. I think Feznitz, who is the designer of this piece, did such an amazing job making a really fun, whimsical piece. This is the front of it. It just looks like a bikini top, and then when you turn it over, this is what sold me. Look at this. Look at the back of this piece. These are so stunning, these little bows. I'm so happy with this. This piece was a lot of new techniques for me, so I definitely had some trial and error. I will not lie to you on that. There was a lot of things I had to redo because I wanted them to just be the best that they could. I do acknowledge that being this was my first intarsia knit, I wasn't planning on perfection. However, I did want something I was at least pretty proud of and felt like I could wear in public and not, feel embarrassed by. So we definitely had some trials and tribulations, but this piece came out really fantastic in the end. I did a fold over collar for the first time. Like I mentioned, I did intarsia for the first time. I'm excited to wear it. I don't have any pictures in it yet, but by the time I post this video, I'll have photos, so I'll add them in. I used the Cascade Ultra Pima cotton yarn in this project, and I used only 3mm knitting needles and a 3.5. But if you know anything about crochet or knitting,
that's a really tiny size.
So this piece took me so much longer, like I said, than I anticipated it taking me. I will say, as far as the yarn goes, if you had watched the vlog where I had talked about it briefly, I don't love like the filminess that yarn left on my fingers when I was working with it. It's pretty good yarn. Like, I don't hate it by any means, but if I'm comparing it to one of my favorite cotton yarns, such as like Queensland coastal cotton, I love that way more. I'd rather use a 4-weight in the coastal than a 3-weight in the Cascades. I think it's just personal preference, but for me, personally, I like Coastal Cotton by Queensland way better. The color selection though for Cascades was unmatched. I couldn't find these colors with the Queensland, and I also couldn't find a 3-weight in the Queensland. So they definitely have their pros and cons. I don't know. I wasn't super crazy with it. I have a little more, so I'll work something else with it, or maybe crochet will be a different experience for me. But just overall, initially in the beginning, I cannot say that this is one of my favorite new go-to yarns. So that is just my honest review. Hindsight is now 2020. I probably should have started with the back, because the first panel I knit was where I was learning a little bit more about intarsia and how it makes sense, and by the back panel I feel like I mastered it a lot better. So the front panel is what I did first, and I feel like there's a little bit more errors in the front, and so it's a little bit more visible because it's right up front. What can you do, Still really proud of it, and I'd probably give this like a 7.5 out of 10. I think had I used a different yarn and maybe a yarn with like just a little bit of fluff to it, I probably would have rated this like an 8.5 or even 9 out of 10 because the design is just so good. It's such a fun piece for summer. Okay, one more thing slipped behind the cracks. I do have this knit shawl that I made. I have a lot of knit in the first quarter of this year. Fear not though, I have a lot more crochet coming. I am itching to crochet something again, so we'll have a lot more crochet in the future here. This colorway is so stunning. This is by Juniper Moon Farms, and this was in Fairy Floss. I think it's such a perfect name for how this yarn is. It's the lightest, airiest yarn. I would love to work a cardigan with this particular yarn, and this colorway is really fun too. You have like these really rich, more deeper toned yellows, and then it fades into some tans and some gray, and you kind of have just like all types of colors in this, which I didn't know how I was going to like these warmer tones with cool tones, but it ends up working out. And I've never had a shawl before. I do get it though. Like, now that I have one, I see why people make them because they're very convenient. It's very fun to just throw over your shoulder. This is also a one skein project. So it was very much a quick piece to work up, and I loved that about it. I can overall say that this was a fun project to work up and just fun to do something different. You know, it wasn't something I had to think about a lot. The other thing I really like about it is how much texture is in this piece. You do a lot of garter stitching, some stockinette, all kinds of fun stuff. You have some yarn overs over on this side, so a lot of different techniques in this one piece, and it just kind of packs a punch. So I love this one too. I think I'd have to give this a 9 out of 10 just because I had a really enjoyable time making it. It's not something I wear a lot, but it's a lot of fun, and I love the yarn so much that I have to give it a good rating for that. So that is now actually the last piece in the stash, and that is all we have for the first quarter of this year. I hope you enjoyed this little segment of like a crochet knit diary with me. I didn't think I got this much work done this year so far, so I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm pretty proud of myself for getting this much done, because you constantly are seeing people work and finish projects and you feel like you're never doing enough, but once you really look at what you've made with your own two hands, it's pretty incredible. So I highly recommend you keeping a little journal yourself of crochet projects. I've also been saving labels this year, which is not something I've done before, but especially when I'm working with more of a yarn that to me is considered a treat yarn, it's fun to keep the label and kind of like keep a scrapbook of your crochet knit projects that way as well. So super fun. I had a lot of fun going over these projects with you guys. I would love to hear your favorite of the bunch. Also tell me your least favorite. No one's feelings will get hurt, don't worry. If you don't have a least favorite, that's fine, but if there's something you don't really love, I'd love to hear that too. And if you have any projects you'd really like to see me make and you're just not wanting to make them before you see someone else do it, let me know that too. I might experiment with some of those if I can find some time. Also, if you want to share your most recent favorite project, I'd love to hear what you've made recently that you really like. There's also the community tab if you guys want to post it over there so I can take a look at it there too. Other than that though, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by and spending a little bit of your time with me. If you're new to the channel and you liked any of these pieces you saw and you think it'd be fun to stick around and hang out for the rest of the year and see what else we get up to, I would love to have you here. So don't forget to subscribe before you leave today. I post new videos every Monday. Occasionally on Thursdays, they're always crochet or knit related, and we have a lot of fun over here. So I'd love for you to join. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, guys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for letting me take up a little bit of your time here on the internet today. Have an amazing week. Let's go into May with a lot of positive energy and a lot of positive project vibes, and let's have a wonderful second quarter of the year. So I will be seeing you in my next one, guys, and take care until then. Bye!